All right, welcome everybody. We're going to take just a couple minutes to give people a chance to get connected, get any tech issues. So I'll be back with you in about 2 minutes. Thanks. All right, well, welcome everybody. This is Mike Bills, president of ConexED and also a member of the Westminster College Board of Trustees. And I've got with me our presenter, Cory Stokes, digital learning officer at the University of Utah, and generally the smartest guy I know when it comes to education technology. And thank you for joining us. The topic today is bridging the belonging gap, connecting students with campus services. So just a couple of housekeeping items before Cory gets started. So questions can be submitted via chat, and we have a colleague of mine that will be monitoring the chat, so we'll get to those questions. And so there'll come a point at which Cory will stop and allow for the responses to those questions. And so without further ado, let me introduce Cory Stokes. So Cory is the Digital Learning Officer and Associate Dean of Undergraduate Studies at the University of Utah, where he oversees the university's online programs, digital learning infrastructure, the testing center, and curriculum administration service teams. Cory is a highly regarded thought leader in digital learning and using technology to improve student learning outcomes. And if you need documentation of that, you can go look at the IPEDS results for the University of Utah over Cory's term, and the outcomes there are really impressive. So Cory, I turn it over to you.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for that introduction, and hello, everyone. I'm honored that you've taken time to listen to what I have to say today. Today, what I really want to talk about is what we're doing at the University of Utah to enable those first steps to that multifaceted relationships that build a sense of community and connection to the university for our students. It really starts with helping our students easily find and connect to people across the institution, and really creating a welcoming experience. It's about enabling what author Stephen Johnson calls liquid networks in his book, Where Good Ideas Come From. And after all, isn't the essence of college all about generating, testing, and sharing good ideas? So a few years ago, I was asked by our provost to help create a unified plan for how our university would bring together all the disparate functional areas that a student interacts with in their time here, and really take an integrated approach to engaging and serving our students. The result was this model that you see that we now simply refer to as the diamond. That may make it sound more valuable than it actually is, but it works for us. And I'm not saying that we get everything right here, but this is something that has really helped us as an institution convene the conversations and get everybody on the same page and talking about the same student experience.
Hey, Cory, hey, it's Mike here. We're not seeing that diamond slide.
You see it now?
Yes, thanks.
All right. Can't go on without the diamond. So really what we're talking about as we look at the diamond, there are 4 key phases that a student passes through in their time with us at the university. First, we want to make sure that we're creating the right access pathways to give as many people on-ramps and opportunities to have access to the university as possible. Along that journey, we want them to really work with us and make a plan to finish. And then in that plan, think about how they're going to have deeply engaged learning experiences and how we as the university are going to facilitate that. And finally, how are we going to help these students have the career-connected credentials that will help them go out into the workplace and actually secure jobs and move on in life, and hopefully come back for more education along the way in a looping education kind of model. So we started with, if you look at the center of the diamond, that's really talking about all the data that we have about a student. We talk a lot about student information system data, but there's a lot of other components to this that help us understand the full picture of what is going on with a student and what they need from us. There's communication and relationship data. Some of us have CRM systems, some are better at it, or your CRM systems are more advanced. That's kind of an early stage data repository for us here at the University of Utah. You also have your curriculum and learning outcomes data. That's part of, very much tied to your classes and learning experiences. And then you have the behavioral and performance data as students are actually going through their learning experiences and engaging at the university. A lot of that data is stored in your learning management system initially, but there may be other systems where you can begin to pick up more of that behavioral data. And that really makes your data core that enables analysis and lets you deliver targeted alerts and nudges to students to help them understand if they are on the path to their plan to finish, or if we need to make some course corrections. Along the outside of the diamond, you have all the different, what I call transactional units that are involved, where the student is actually interacting with a system or with people. And there are a lot of touch points that a student walks through and people that they interact with in this journey through the university. Admissions counselors, financial aid counselors, housing people, student and peer groups. They may have a pre-major advisor, then be passed on to a major advisor. Obviously, there's the registrar staff. Then when they get into class, their instructor, their teaching assistant, there's tutoring. They may have a faculty mentor in their program that they're interacting with. And of course, their own network of personal learning peers that they want to connect with. As they generate these great ideas, they're going to do things outside of class, and they need ways to interact with their peers. Finally, they may have a career coach that they're working with toward the end of their degree. And they're starting to build a professional network of people out in industry. As they finish up, they may be talking again with the registrar staff as they're moving toward graduation, or if they're looking to transfer, and they may be talking with a transfer advisor. So there's a lot of touch points. And for us, what we really thought about was, how do we make those touch points not be so fractured for a student? And we came up with this concept. I call it the 5 S's. The first S being, are we thinking about the student experience? Are we student focused first and foremost? Of course, faculty and staff are important in these interactions, but it's kind of irrelevant if the student never engages. So primarily, are we coming at everything and being student focused? Secondly, how will students get support? Sometimes we cobble together a lot of free services that are out there on the cloud, and it's great for the university, and it's a great way to stand up and try things, but nobody is really responsible in that model for supporting the student. We've all had the experience of calling support and being told, oh, that's Microsoft's problem or that's Apple's problem. That's not the experience we're looking to create. Is it streamlined? Do the tools support an optimized user experience? Do they simplify how students pass through all of our various business processes? And is it standardized? Can it be used enterprise-wide across the institution? Can it serve many touch points in a cohesive way? And can it use standards-based systems to connect with your other key university systems? Finally, is it sustainable? Does it deliver results? And do those results provide a return on the investment made in this larger ecosystem and all these integrated points? I'm going to pause at this point and just see if there's any questions flowing in, or just get some reaction to what I'm saying here.
All right, Cory, we've got a couple of questions. So the first one is, you've identified many touch points. How did you decide where to start?
Start where your culture at the university is most keyed. That's what I would say. For us, really, as we were looking at effectively using analytics and some of the alerts that we're getting out of our analytics system, it became clear that we needed to make a very easy way for students to schedule appointments with advisors and begin that sort of conversation. So that's where we started. But along that way, we also drew in the career coaches and a few other people, and you just start to build momentum. But I think it's important to start with one group and kind of define what you're doing there and get your feet under you, and then you can expand out.
Great. And so here's another one, Cory. So who were the key stakeholders in your discussions that led to the diamond?
There's a lot of people that are involved, and in fact, we convene now on a monthly basis in a committee called the Integrated Student Team, and that includes the university registrar. It's people from our IT organization, admissions. The director of admissions is there, the director of our teaching and learning technologies, our curriculum administration team, and our general education associate dean are there. So we're bringing together a very cross-institutional, multi-dimensional team of people. Almost all of them are at the director level, and they're really talking about how their unit works and how they want to interface and help students move from what they do to the next step or other groups that they commonly interface with. And we're just really looking at where can we lower the barriers for students and make it easy to make those transitions.
Excellent. Well, thanks, Cory. And we'll have an opportunity. There'll be opportunity throughout to ask questions, and feel free to chat them anytime. So thanks, Cory.
Thanks, Mike. Well, moving on, let's dive a little into the details, the tactical side of this. So for us, ConexED was a perfect match for our 5S list there. What you're seeing here is an example of the student directory view that our students have if they were to log into the ConexED system. They can do a search and they can find career coaches are what you're seeing here, but we have hundreds of advisors who are in the system. My own teaching and learning technology team is there where faculty can contact them. And even faculty members themselves have created profiles in the system, and a student simply can do a search for a person they're looking for, or they can search for a department or a service unit and see all the people that they could connect with in that service unit. So I think that's important. And what was important for us first, and the big problem we were trying to solve, is a university is a big place, and finding the right person to talk to can be really difficult. And then knowing how to contact them is the second problem. So here's an example of a ConexED card that really facilitates this connection for students. And you'll see at the beginning of the presentation, I gave you the address to my ConexED card, It's just https://utah.craniumcafe.com/cstokes. And that's a persistent URL. And if you went there, you would see my card and could click to schedule a meeting with me to make an appointment. You can send me an offline message. You can, if I'm online, we can even start an instant chat right from this card. You can knock on my door and I'll see that someone wants to chat with me. And then I have the option to say, can you make an appointment? Or I can just take the chat. We can also enable the ability to have webinars, large group meetings where we can bring lots of people together and do a presentation. In this case, you can see that this advisor has regular PhD info sessions for the program that she represents. But really, step one is just helping students find other people. And for us, the learning management system is really the heart of a student experience. We have this philosophy that you go to Canvas, which is our LMS, and it gets you to everything else that you need in your learning experience. So in this case, you can see that ConexED is simply an LTI tool that was easy to configure into the tools within our Canvas class environment. And when you click on it, students see other students who are in the class who have created their ConexED profiles, and they can connect with them using all those features that I talked about. Schedule with them. If they're online, they can start a chat with them. They can pop them an offline message. But this directory adjusts for whatever class environment you're in. So if I went to one of my other classes and clicked on this, I would see the students in that class. So it creates this nice directory view to help students quickly discover the other people in their class and start having those group interactions. And all of that complicated mess about trying to get people to schedule study time and let's get our group project together, it makes it very easy for students to begin to get control of scheduling and managing those group interactions in a class. The other way that students can find people is finding through a web page. So in this case, you're seeing one of our online programs, the landing page that we've created for them at our online website. And the advisor for this program has simply embedded their ConexED card right into the website itself, so that students or prospective students even can very easily knock on the door and talk with that advisor if he's online, send an offline message, or schedule a meeting to talk later on. And it's just embedded right into this web page. I really like the picture here. I love it when people put very personal pictures like this that create kind of that welcoming, something that says something about them right from their picture. So it brings a little bit of personalization into what could just be a cold, static, informational web page. There's a person and a personal presence for this program right on this web page. So step one is finding who you want to talk to or finding who can help with what you're trying to do. Step two then is clicking one of the options to connect. Open a chat window. And in this case, the advisor could begin a text chat with this person, but if they needed to dive in and maybe show them some documents or show them a process on a website, it's very easy to just open your door to your virtual room and bring this person into a video chat environment, really with one click right from this chat environment. Or the person can simply schedule a meeting. They click schedule a meeting, pick from a reason they want to meet. Do they want to meet through telephone? Do they want to meet through a video meeting? This can also accommodate in-person meetings at a location or an office on campus. In this case, the advisor hasn't made that an option, but that it could be there. And then it presents with meeting dates for the modality or the student is proposing and available time slots. So it's very straightforward and easy for the person to really narrow in on when can this person meet with me for the reason that I need to talk with them. If you do pull the person right into a video meeting or on the day of the video meeting, you simply go into your meeting room And it looks like just about any video chat session in any tool that you've used. We've all used a lot of different kinds. I think it's a little unique here, first of all, because we're absolutely certain that we're FERPA compliant in this environment. We've presented the student with a FERPA statement that they've agreed to. And we have the agreements with this vendor who is very, very good at working with institutions around FERPA and all of these things. They understand deeply why that is important, especially in these conversations with advisors and other student interactions with university offices. But from this environment, you can see that it's a full two-way video chat. There could be more people in here, and it begins to give you kind of that Brady Bunch tiled or that view of all the participants who are in the cafe environment with you. You can turn on captioning, and that's live captioning. It's listening to what's happening and generating a live caption transcript. So accessibility is very, very good in this system, and it's important to all of us as we think about how we're creating a welcoming environment for all kinds of students. The meeting can be recorded. The advisor or the consultant can simply click on the person's video panel and flip it over and take some consultation notes that are secured and held in the system securely, but they can get to notes about this session and the conversation later on. You can share documents, you can share your screen, you can even work together in a whiteboarding environment and do some work that way. So it works well as a tutoring tool, it works well as a consultation tool. It's a great way for faculty members to begin to hold some virtual office hours, especially for online students. So that's kind of the student side of this and how easily we can connect students, help them find their person, connect and get into a conversation really quickly with the person that can help them at that touch point. For the staff and on the back end, I just want to give you a little glimpse of the power that it has for us as a university in managing at the enterprise level. First of all, it's very easy for me to drop into the system in the morning and see exactly who I have appointments with that day. In this case, you're seeing that most of the appointments that I've got upcoming are set to be meetings at my office. But if I scroll down, you would see there are a few that are virtual meetings, and in that case, it just provides the link for the meeting. When an appointment is made, I receive a confirmation email, and the student also receives an email. I have mine set up so that the student also receives an hour before our meeting. The student will receive a reminder email. So that's completely configurable by me in the way that I want to work. It's also very easy for me to have this work with my other calendars. So I have blocked out in gold here. I have certain block times on Tuesday and Friday afternoons when I have open office hours that can be scheduled through the system. And you can see I've got some appointments that have been dropped into those open hours. It's aware of what's on my Outlook calendar. It's synchronizing through our Exchange server at the university. So my appointments that are coming in through this system and everything that I'm putting on my calendar stay in sync and hopefully don't collide too often. Calendar management is one of the most difficult tasks I think that we face or anybody faces at a university. And even at a team level, it's possible to see kind of a team view of the calendars and when do people across the team have appointments scheduled with students and when do they have open slots, when are they blocked out and busy. So it kind of gives your front desk a quick and easy view of what's going on, and they can even check students in directly from this view. If they're walking into in-person appointments, there's a check-in feature, or it can be enabled on a kiosk in the office for self-check-in. And there's a lot of controls that I won't go into detail on, but you can see across the top right above the date in this view, there are a lot of options that at the group level, you have a lot of control over how you configure the system to work for your office, for your service unit. And we've just been really impressed with the breadth of the ability of this system to adapt to a lot of different kinds of offices at the university. So I guess in conclusion and to wrap up, I would just revisit the 5 S's. And I would say in terms of student focused, working with a platform that is specifically and only designed to work in this education context, and a company that has been at this for so long and worked with so many universities and advisors and different units on campuses, to have a deep understanding of how those processes work even across different institutions. But there are some commonality that the system is able to make easier for us. There's a lot of decisions we don't have to make because the product is already built for an education environment. And that's not always the case when you just go and pull an enterprise system off the shelf that's actually built for business. It's supported. It is an enterprise platform. There are people who will pick up the phone and help a user if they're having problems connecting. And it's great to have someone who is there helping our staff, our students, everyone. We know whose responsibility it is to support users on this platform. And there's a lot of train the trainer that goes on with our staff and our help desks here at the university. It is streamlined. It does connect easily with our LMS. Integrating cards into a web page is just pasting in an embed code link that's given right from the product. It's calendar integrated, and those integrations are fairly simple to set up. None of the integrations take more than 10 minutes to configure at the most. You could probably do them all in 10 minutes. And finally, it's standardized. It's creating a common experience across all of those touch points, and each one is configured for the particular process or appointment handling for that unit and that team. But there's enough commonality that it feels like a standardized experience to a student. We feel when we present ourselves as one university. And that's reflected, I think, a little bit in the 53,000 appointments that this system handled for us in the last year across a lot of different advisors and coaches and consultants and faculty. And finally, is it sustainable? As we look at this, what it really comes down to is if we can retain 20 students that we retain by engaging them and having them feel connected with this university, the tuition and everything that we collect from those students is the return on investment. And I think it's easily achievable to retain 20 students while making this available to all students and enabling what we're trying to do at this university to build that sense of connection and get students over that first step of finding someone who can help them out and can get them started on their journey. So that's really kind of the broad picture I wanted to paint for you today, and I'm happy to take any questions that you have.
Cory, we have a couple questions that have come up. So the first one is, you mentioned the university being the big village that it is, and so this question is relevant to that. How did you obtain buy-in across so many departments to converge on one platform?
Yeah, and I would say that is an ongoing process. I think what I liked about this was we could start with one department. We could start with just a set of advisors and show success or show how configurable the platform was. And then we could go to another group and say, this is how this group is using it, but how does it need to work for your group? And I think in showing them the configurability and the customizable points where every different unit, they didn't have to change the way that they did their business. It was more this working to make the system kind of fit into their culture. There's always a give and take both ways. But I think that's the secret, is it doesn't have to be a change all at once. You can work through all these different touch points and all these different units bit by bit and allow them to define how they want to have their part of the product configured and how they want it to work for their team. And that helps with that change management and buy-in.
Great. And here's another one, Cory, and this one is about accessibility, and it's just simply, so is this platform ADA compliant?
From our perspective at the University of Utah, we have not encountered any concern that it is not ADA compliant, but Mike, it's your product and your platform. You probably have a good statement about your ADA compliance.
I do, yeah. In fact, we have, because we serve a large community college district, California Community College District, at their whole district level, they require vendors that they pick at the system-wide level to go through a third-party accessibility audit from a list of auditors that they have approved. So, and we go through that on an annual basis. So yes, we are, but it's always helpful to have a customer of ours vouch for it.
That's right. We have no concerns about the ADA compliance of this product.
Excellent. Well, Cory, that's the end of the questions. So Cory, thank you so much. And everybody who participated in this, thank you for making time and for your interest in this.
Thank you.